Lesson 13 for December 21 to 27. Leaders in Israel. Read by Dr. Percy Harrold. Friday, December 27. From the book Patriarchs and Prophets, page 677, we read, "The work of restoration and reform carried on by the returned exiles, under the leadership of Zerubbabel, Ezra and Nehemiah, presents a picture of a work of spiritual restoration that is to be wrought in the closing days of this earth's history. The remnant of Israel were a feeble people exposed to the ravages of their enemies, but through them God purposed to preserve in the earth a knowledge of himself and of his law. They were the guardians of the true worship, the keepers of the holy oracles. Varied were the experiences that came to them as they rebuilt the temple and the wall of Jerusalem. Strong was the opposition that they had to meet. Heavy were the burdens borne by the leaders in this work. But these men moved forward in unwavering confidence, in humility of spirit, and in firm reliance upon God, believing that he would cause his truth to triumph. Like King Hezekiah, Nehemiah clave to the Lord, and departed not from following him, but kept his commandments, and the Lord was with him, as it says in 2 Kings 18, verses 6 and 7. End of quote. And that brings us to our 4 discussion questions this week. And someone has asked me online why I don't give answers. Well, I'm just reading. That's my role in providing the Sabbath School lesson as it is written. The question answers are yours. So the 4 discussion questions. Number 1, why should we do all that we can before God to be supportive of our leaders? 2, why is the servant leadership style so difficult, demanding, and at the same time rewarding? Why is it so important for a Christian leader to be a servant as well? 3, in the beginning and at the end of the book, as well as in between, Nehemiah was praying. Both Ezra and Nehemiah were men of prayer. Count carefully how many times the word prayer or prayed is mentioned in the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. These leaders were constantly praying. What should that say to us about our own prayer lives? And 4, for he held fast to the Lord. He did not depart from following him, but kept his commandments, which the Lord had commanded Moses. 2 Kings 18, verse 6. How does one hold fast to the Lord? What does that mean? How does holding fast to the Lord relate to keeping his commandments? Inside Story. Seeing the Big Picture. Our story today is by Andrew McChesney of Adventist Mission. A family of 5 came nearly every day to the Seventh-day Adventist compound in South Sudan's capital, Juba, to ask for food. Peter Fanoy, a missionary physician running the small Manuki Seventh-day Adventist clinic on the compound, found the family's actions puzzling. One day, Peter decided to look for answers, and he went to the family's nearby home. What he saw shocked him. The father, mother, 2 daughters, and son were taking turns eating. The father and son would eat one day, and the mother and daughters would eat the next day. Peter, a native of Argentina, returned to the compound and shared his discovery with his wife Natasha, who was born in South Ossetia, part of the former Soviet Union. We are focusing only on what we are doing, medical work, and forgetting the people around us who need something else, he told her. Medical work is a good thing, but the community needs something else: clean water, food, mosquito nets, and containers for carrying water. After praying, Peter decided to write a US $150,000 proposal to the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, that's ADRA, world headquarters in the United States. He had never written a project proposal before, but ADRA embraced it and covered its budget. In a short time, the Manuki Seventh-day Adventist Clinic became known as the ADRA Juba Project. It was 2005, months before a peace agreement ended a festering armed conflict. The small clinic expanded its services to offer food and non-food items, water sanitation and emergency assistance. In a single year, the project's funding skyrocketed from $150,000 to $2 million. I was surprised, Peter said. I realised that focusing on people and looking to meet their needs can develop projects that help others. Peter's life changed drastically. Ezra sent him to Andrews University in the United States of Michigan to earn a master's degree in international development. Then he worked for a number of aid agencies, including ADRA, the Danish Refugee Council, World Vision and UNICEF in Jordan, Lebanon, Bolivia, South Ossetia and Russia's Republic of Chechnya. But everything started with one small thing, a desire to understand why a family was asking for food every day. My whole life focused on health before that. I didn't realise that there was something beyond the consulting room, Peter, 39, said in an interview at River Plate Adventist University in South America, his alma mater that sends missionaries like him around the world. Don't just focus on what you have and what you are supposed to do, said Peter, whose photograph appears left here with, I assume that's his wife. Seek to understand what people really need, and then you can offer a better and more Christ-like response. This week's lesson has been read by Dr. Percy Harrold from Queensland, Australia. It is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and through the services of Christian Services for the Blind. A video of this podcast also occurs on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.